I mean, to say 100% not true is to act as if nothing he said is true in that statement. And so what exactly is The Rock commenting on? That he was never on steroids? That he didn't abuse performance-enhancing drugs?
He was not just another Hollywood celebrity, he was the Hollywood name everyone pointed to. Studios treated him like the safest investment in the game. Billion-dollar franchises leaned on his shoulders. Major brands lined up, waiting for a chance to work with him. Crowds screamed his name from packed wrestling arenas all the way to massive theater screens. His story was sold as the ultimate glow-up. A man starting with $7 in his pocket, who turned non-stop grind, discipline, and unstoppable positivity into worldwide dominance. The motivational speeches, the gym selfies, the charity moments, the endless shout-outs, and that signature smile were everywhere. But behind that polished superstar image, the cracks did not just pop up overnight. They had been spreading quietly for years. Once people stopped seeing Dwayne Johnson as a symbol and started noticing the pattern, the whole vibe changed fast. Suddenly the story was not only about inspiration anymore, it started looking more like control, ego, careful image management, and a powerful urge to stay on top, even in moments when the spotlight was supposed to belong to someone else. The first real red flags did not come from gossip sites or rumor pages. They started inside one of the biggest movie machines on the planet, the Fast and Furious franchise. When Johnson jumped in back in 2011 as Luke Hobbs, fans went wild. He brought serious muscle energy and massive star power. Some insiders even claimed he helped revive the franchise when things were starting to lose momentum on screen. On camera, the message was always about family and loyalty. Behind the scenes, the mood was completely different. Tension started building fast. People close to production later said Johnson could be tough to work with, showing up late, sudden schedule switches, entire filming days getting reshuffled around his availability. Then the moment that really turned heads arrived.
That The Rock has now lowered his doses. I don't think he's 100% natural. When you go from abusing steroids for perhaps 30 straight years, your body is going to shut down. Your HPT axis is going to be lowered. You're not going to have testosterone produced. Your LH, FSH hormones are going to be in the toilet. And so if he actually just cut out testosterone cold turkey, he would have brain fog. He would feel horrible. He wouldn't be able to use the downstairs effectively. It wouldn't be very good.
In what many saw as a carefully timed Instagram post, he praised his female co-stars while throwing sharp shade at unnamed male cast members, calling some unprofessional and saying two were scared to confront him. He never said any names out loud, but everyone watching could read between the lines. The target looked obvious: Vin Diesel. What made the whole situation even messier was how Diesel handled it. During filming, he stayed quiet, finished the work, did the press run, and kept things respectful in public. Later, he explained that his leadership style on set was more like tough love. Johnson clearly was not buying that explanation. Instead of settling things behind closed doors, the tension kept growing and the situation slowly turned louder and more public. Then in 2017, a huge announcement shook things up. Universal revealed a Fast and Furious spin-off called Fast and Furious Presents. Hobbs and Shaw, no Diesel, no core crew, just Johnson and Jason Statham leading the whole ride. Financially, the movie pulled in more than $700 million worldwide, which on paper looked strong. But culturally, fans were split. Many people felt like something important was missing. Some viewers said the soul of the franchise got traded for wild stunts and larger-than-life heroes who never seemed to lose. Even inside the cast, reactions were heated. Tyrese Gibson spoke out and accused Johnson of turning the franchise into his personal flex move. Johnson fired back online, taking a jab at Tyrese's music career. That exchange did not feel like normal industry tension anymore. It felt personal. The energy shifted in a big way. What once looked like a creative disagreement started to look more like a battle over control. The bigger issue was space. Johnson did not seem interested in sharing it. He wanted leverage. He wanted the center spot in every room he walked into. And that reputation did not stay limited to fast cars and street races.
Just a little quick shout out to Tyrese, his new album, Black Rose. I just heard it. I literally just heard it. I heard the whole thing in my trailer. And I've got to say, in all honesty, it's the biggest piece of dog shit that I have ever heard. Everyone's laughing, by the way, but it's true because everybody's heard it too. Everyone heard it, right? Everyone's like, yeah, big piece of dog shit. Shouldn't be called Black Rose. Should be called big piece of black dog shit. That's what it should be called. Not even the hard, dried up dog shit for 7 days. It's the soft dog shit. It's like baby. It's like that. That's what the album is like. And I never want to hear it again. And I'm never going to forgive him for wasting my time. That is time I will never get back. It's like dog shit is in my ear.
Around that time, people in Hollywood started whispering about the details hidden inside Johnson's contracts. Certain clauses reportedly limited how much damage his characters could take on screen. The idea floating around was simple. His character could not look weak. He could not look weak. Losing badly was never really an option. Even inside fictional worlds, the image had to stay dominant. On the surface, it looked like smart brand protection, a superstar protecting the image that made him famous. But critics started seeing it differently. They began calling it ego preservation. Writers reportedly had to adjust scripts. Directors had to reshape action scenes. Entire story beats were softened, so his character always came out standing tall in the end. The result started to feel predictable. The movies looked big, loud, and explosive, but the stakes felt thin. If the main character never truly struggles, the tension disappears. Fans slowly started noticing the pattern. Critics definitely noticed it. That shiny illusion of unstoppable dominance began to crack. Then the story moved into the superhero world. DC did not just offer Johnson a role, they gave him real influence. Black Adam was not presented as just another comic book movie. It was framed like a major takeover moment. Johnson promoted it as a massive power shift inside the DC universe. He openly compared Black Adam's strength to Superman and pushed hard for major cameos. Reports also said he tried to distance the character from Shazam, even though that rivalry is a huge part of the comics. Behind the scenes, talk started circulating that he wanted strong creative authority, possibly even a leadership-level voice inside DC. Then reality landed hard. Despite huge marketing and a massive budget, the movie struggled and failed to cross the profitability line.
There's not a chance in hell he's clean.
No.
Not a chance in hell. As big as The Rock is, at 50, crazy.
How about The
Look at
Rock?
that picture of him next to it, the sad truth. Oh my God, that's crazy.
How about The Rock had to get on more steroids to play him in a biopic? That's how big Mark Kerr was. They're like, hey
If you
Rock,
want it
we
to
need
be
you to play Mark
legit.
Kerr. We need you to get him on more steroids.
Slim down. I bet getting that big probably felt like shit.
Well, someone was like, hey, your heart's going to explode, right? And
Yeah.
number two, you
You're
got to
50.
Many people expected a huge win, but the reaction was mixed. Critics were lukewarm, and fans were not exactly blown away. DC Studios suddenly had to rethink its entire direction. Instead of simply acknowledging the setback, Johnson released selective financial breakdowns online, claiming the movie actually made money. Industry analysts questioned those numbers almost immediately. The whole PR move felt strange to a lot of observers. Instead of confidence, it came across as defensive and carefully spun. Then DC brought in new leadership, and the atmosphere shifted fast. Johnson's future projects slowly vanished from the studio roadmap. Quietly, without a big announcement, the plans faded away. For the first time in years, he was no longer steering the ship. That change exposed a pattern some insiders had already been whispering about. Dominate, deny, deflect. The cycle kept replaying again and again. After the DC chapter ended, the cracks in the image were no longer quiet rumors. They were loud enough for everyone to notice. Public perception still highlighted discipline, hustle, and non-stop motivation. But behind the scenes, a different conversation was growing. People inside the industry started talking about delays, scheduling complications, and tense productions. That disconnect exploded during the making of Red One. On paper, the project looked unstoppable, a massive holiday blockbuster backed by Amazon, with Chris Evans as co-star. It looked like the perfect comeback moment. Instead, reports described a chaotic production. Leaks claimed Johnson was often hours late, and some days he allegedly did not show up at all. Scenes had to be rearranged quickly, schedules were flipped around, and the budget started climbing higher and higher. Then one unusual detail grabbed headlines everywhere. Reports claimed he avoided public restrooms on set and used bottles instead, which staff members later had to deal with.
It's Sunday night, approximately 11 p.m. It is Cheat Meal Sunday for all of us around the world, certainly for me here. And the reason why this is history in the making is because this is the very first time that I have ever tried an In-N-Out burger or In-N-Out fries or anything.
The story sounded wild, almost impossible to believe at first. But there was a twist. Johnson had actually mentioned similar habits in past interviews when talking about intense filming schedules and non-stop workdays. Amazon quickly pushed back against the rumors, calling the reports exaggerated and insisting the production ran smoothly. Still, industry chatter told a different story. Quiet conversations around Hollywood suggested the budget had ballooned by tens of millions. And in Hollywood, when a budget suddenly jumps that high, people start paying attention fast. Eyebrows go up, questions start flying. But the bigger concern was not just one rumor or one struggling movie, it was the pattern forming behind the scenes. Project after project seemed to circle back to the same theme: dominance over collaboration, control over cohesion, winning the moment instead of building the bigger story. For years, the rock brand felt completely untouchable. Nothing seemed capable of shaking it. But now that image looked like it was finally being tested. When a carefully polished public image starts clashing with behind-the-scenes reality, people notice quickly. Release dates began shifting, delays stacked up, and when Red One finally arrived, it did not just underperform, it crashed harder than many expected. Another massive budget, another big swing, another project that missed the mark. Yet the pattern stayed familiar. Studios absorbed the financial hit, while Dwayne Johnson's personal brand somehow walked away, looking untouched. By this point, the cycle was impossible to ignore. When something succeeded, it turned into a victory lap. When something struggled, the story suddenly became complicated, misunderstood, or softened through clever messaging. Criticism rarely stuck for long. It often got polished, reframed, and wrapped in layers of positivity until it barely looked like criticism anymore.
However, the show looks like it's finally coming to an end. He recently found out that he had plaque buildup in his circumflex artery from his decades of gear.
That was the moment when the branding started to feel overwhelming. At some point, Johnson stopped coming across like a regular person and started looking more like a full-time ad campaign. Energy drinks, tequila, shoes, headphones, gym gear, skincare, supplements. The branding was everywhere. Every post seemed tied to a product. Every workout clip had a logo placed somewhere in the frame. Even the so-called casual moments lined up perfectly with a launch date. Fans did not suddenly turn on him overnight. It was slower than that, more like quiet exhaustion building up over time. People started asking uncomfortable questions. Why is a bald man promoting hair care products? Why do the captions sound so polished, almost scripted? And why does nothing feel spontaneous anymore? Then a small moment online suddenly grabbed attention. Johnson shared a post about trying a famous burger chain for the first time. On the surface, it sounded harmless, just a celebrity enjoying a classic fast food stop. But fans quickly started digging. Old photos and videos popped up showing he had already visited the same place years earlier. The internet noticed fast. Not long after, the caption on the post was quietly edited. No big announcement, no explanation, no direct acknowledgement. By itself, it was a tiny detail, but stacked on top of everything else, it started to carry more weight. Because if something that small could be reshaped for the narrative, people began wondering what else might be carefully curated behind the scenes.
Vin Diesel couldn't be on set at the same time. They hate each other so bad. They had to shoot different scenes and like shoot it so it looked like someone was there. They hate each other so much.
Didn't the Rock gotten a big thing with Tyrese too, right?
Tyrese just flipping out because like all he has is Fast and Furious.
Really?
So that when the Rock did a spinoff, he's like, "How dare you? We're a family." Rock was like, "No, we're not."
Well,
They gave me a
wasn't it
spinoff, dumbass.
But remember when The Rock was shitting on his music?
That was fantastic.
That guy, you know what he does? He just goes to the gym
The Rock
with 2 hours sleep.
a lot of steroids.
You think?
Joe.
Do you?
He's getting big like that from cocaine again?
Cocaine again? He used to do cocaine?
No, I'm saying the John Jones thing.
That question exploded during the 2023 Maui wildfire crisis. Devastating fires tore through parts of Maui, and Johnson, who often speaks proudly about his Hawaiian roots, stepped forward with Oprah Winfrey to launch a donation fund. On paper, the mission was clearly charitable. Both of them personally donated millions to get it started. But the public reaction did not land the way many expected. Two extremely wealthy public figures asking everyday people to donate while sitting on enormous fortunes triggered a wave of criticism online. The backlash arrived fast and loud. Angry comments flooded social media. Viral posts picked the situation apart. Personal criticism spread everywhere. Johnson eventually posted an apology video. The tone was calm, thoughtful, and carefully controlled. And that detail stood out to many viewers. He had not committed a crime. He had not been exposed for fraud. In fact, he had contributed his own money to the cause. But the fact that he felt pressure to apologize showed something important. The public image that once looked unshakable was starting to feel fragile. The response was not just about facts anymore. It was about perception. Approval had slowly become the real priority. That same pressure eventually followed him right back to where his legend first exploded, WWE. When Johnson returned with a corporate leadership role, the nostalgia wave was huge. Fans were excited. The People's Champion stepping back into the spotlight sounded like a perfect moment for wrestling history.
We were so concerned about what was happening in Maui, and so we have created the People's Fund of Maui that will put money directly in the hands of the people who need it right now. So if you send a donation, just click where you see below and send a donation. That money is going to go to one of many residents who have been displaced in Maui.
But once creative plans started shifting behind the scenes, the mood changed quickly. A giant WrestleMania match was teased, The Rock versus Roman Reigns. On paper, it looked massive. A generational clash, two huge names colliding under the brightest lights. But there was one problem standing in the middle of it all: Cody Rhodes. For years, Cody had been building his story step by step. Fans were deeply invested in that journey. They wanted to see him reach the top. Suddenly, it looked like his moment might get pushed aside for the bigger global star. The internet exploded almost instantly. Hashtags started trending, clips were getting disliked across platforms, comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Fans accused Johnson of stepping in and hijacking another spotlight. The backlash grew so loud that WWE had to pivot fast. The storyline shifted direction. Cody Rhodes reclaimed the main event spot, and Johnson quietly stepped back from the center of it all. And for the first time in decades, something strange happened. The People's Champion, the same superstar once cheered in every arena, started getting booed like the villain. That moment felt symbolic. Not long after, another moment sparked conversation.
Myself and Roman Reigns were to main event WrestleMania. And I mean this very respectfully of all the WrestleManias prior, because I grew up in this business and I love it.
At the 2025 Venice Film Festival, Johnson appeared noticeably leaner and smaller than the massive superhero frame fans had grown used to. Some people praised the transformation. Others started speculating about health changes and lifestyle adjustments. Online theories spread quickly, with some claiming he had stepped away from performance enhancers after years of maintaining an almost impossible physique. Johnson eventually addressed the change in public, crediting diet adjustments and preparation for upcoming roles. But he did not directly respond to the speculation. That silence only pushed the debate even further. By this stage, it almost did not matter what he said anymore. The audience was no longer just listening, they were analyzing everything. Every explanation sounded strategic. Every denial felt prepared. Every appearance started looking like careful narrative management. There was no dramatic scandal, no arrest, no explosive expose, just something quieter and somehow more complicated. What makes this whole situation interesting is that it is not built on one shocking scandal or one explosive moment. It is something quieter than that. Disbelief. And disbelief can be even more dangerous than outrage. For years, Dwayne Johnson built a reputation as the safest bet in Hollywood. Family-friendly, hard-working, reliable. The superstar studios trusted with hundreds of millions of dollars. The celebrity fans could support without thinking twice. But slowly, that image stopped feeling natural and started feeling engineered.
We're in Hollywood, as we all know, and it had become about box office. And you chase the box office. And the box office in our business that we know is very loud, and it can be very resounding, and it could push you into a category and into a corner. And this is your lane. And this is what you do, and this is what people want you to be, and this is what Hollywood wants you to be. And I understood that. And I made those movies, and I liked them, and they were fun, and some were really good and did well, and some not so good.
I think what I did realize is that the most important thing, I just had this burning desire and this just voice that was saying, well, again, what if? But what if there is more? And what if I can? And a lot of times it's harder for us to, or at least for me, sometimes to know what you're capable of when you've been pigeonholed into something. It's harder to know, wait, can I do that? I feel like I can. And sometimes it takes people who you love and you respect to say, you can. I don't think it's anything to prove to Hollywood as much as it's just for me now.
When certain patterns repeat long enough, people begin noticing them. The Rock rarely loses publicly, he recalibrates. He rarely apologizes unless there is a clear strategy behind it. And he rarely steps back unless the pushback becomes impossible to ignore. That is why the Venice appearance hit differently for many viewers. For the first time in a long while, the larger-than-life symbol looked more human. No massive superhero frame towering over everyone, no unstoppable presence filling the room, just a man in a suit looking normal. And once that visual changes, people begin rethinking everything around it. The contract clauses, the creative control rumors, the reported tension on certain productions, the constant business moves. Suddenly the conversation shifts. What once looked like pure confidence can start to look like pressure. Pressure to stay relevant, pressure to stay dominant, pressure to stay on top in an industry that moves incredibly fast. The irony is hard to miss. A career built on never appearing weak might have created a new kind of vulnerability. Strength without humility can sometimes feel rigid. Discipline without flexibility can appear controlling, and branding without authenticity can slowly create distance between a public figure and the audience. Hollywood has not completely turned on him, and it might never fully happen. But the energy around his image feels different now. Not furious, not explosive, just skeptical. And skepticism has a strange power. It does not destroy legends overnight. It slowly chips away at the story people once believed. Dwayne Johnson is still powerful, still wealthy, and still one of the most recognizable faces on the planet. But the myth around him, that is the part that suddenly feels fragile. And when a myth fades, it rarely explodes in dramatic fashion. Most of the time, it simply dissolves over time. So now the real question goes to you. Do you think this is just a temporary rough chapter in his career? Or are we watching the slow unraveling of one of Hollywood's most carefully managed personas? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like the video, share it with someone who follows entertainment stories, and subscribe for more deep dives like this. Your support really helps the channel grow.